Lots of people ask us, how do we catch more catfish? That's what this video is for. The best catfish baits, tips, and rigs so you can catch more now.
Location, location, location.
You've heard that phrase before, right? And it's not just about finding the right neighborhood for your next house. Finding the right spot when you're bank catfishing is crucial so that you give yourself the best chance of improving your catch rate every time. So first things first, you want to look for areas with structure and cover, like fallen trees, submerged logs, and large rock piles, where catfish love to hide. They stay cooler there, and they wait in ambush for prey that happens to come by. Catfish love deep holes and pools in the lake too, especially shaded areas where they can hide out during the day. They're no different really from bass or crappie. They prefer low light conditions and cover, and that's when their feeding pattern and behavior is more aggressive. Catfish are smell feeders. They use their whiskers and barbels and thousands of taste buds all over their body to find food and prey. So it really doesn't matter if the water is muddy or murky or dark, they will find your food. Okay, you've got yourself set up at the right spot. So now we're going to quickly cover fishing at the right time to catch more catfish. The best times to catch catfish, just like many other freshwater fish, is early morning at dawn, late afternoon approaching dusk, and maybe even the best time for the biggest catfish is at nighttime. The catfish's behavior and feeding pattern does change throughout the day based on a number of different environmental factors like weather conditions, the amount of sunlight penetration, barometric pressure, wind, and water temperature, of course. Timing is really everything. As we mentioned, they prefer feeding most naturally in lower light conditions. So early morning and late evening are typically always the best times to catch all species of catfish. But of course, they do continue to feed all throughout the day too. It's just that lower light conditions are the times when they are most apt to come out of their deeper daytime hiding spots to feed and take advantage of an easy or quick meal. Okay, now we need to have the right gear to go catfishing. Now that you know where to go and when to go to up your chances of catching more fish. It is really important to be using really strong and durable equipment when you're going catfishing. Not just for channels and bullheads, but especially for the really big monsters like flatheads and blues. So let's cover briefly what we recommend you have on hand in terms of the best rod, reel, and line to slay big cats when you're out bank fishing. All catfish are very strong fighters. They have strong jaws of bone and cartilage, and they don't mess around. So we've got to have a very sturdy rod. We would recommend an 8-foot or 9-foot heavy action or medium heavy action fiberglass catfish rod with a very good and strong backbone, and a larger spinning reel that has ample line capacity for at least 150 to 200 yards of a quality, strong braided line. Now, we would recommend you use at least 30-pound braid because when you're bottom fishing for catfish, you'll inevitably catch monster snapping turtles too, like we do in Ohio, and you just don't want to get broken off, okay? Braided line is super strong and super sensitive. There is no stretch and zero memory, so you're still going to feel everything with the fight, even with the 50-pound braid that we use. Also, just make sure your reel has a good drag system that you can easily adjust on the fly if you get a big runner. All right, now let's talk about the best baits for catfishing. This list is actually endless, and we could go on for hours with all the choices, but let's just cover the best and proven baits to use now in any body of water to catch our whiskered friends. I think one of the most popular and reliable baits for catfish that seems to work every time, even when everything else seems to fail, is chicken liver. It's a must-have classic catfish choice due to its odor and consistency and strong scent. All you have to do is cut it up into chunks, and a really great secret hack is to use a pair of pantyhose that keeps it all together and makes it easy to run the hook through so you can cast it out farther into the deepest holes where the biggest cats are likely hiding. And chicken liver works really well in slower moving waters because the scent diffuses nicely in just a matter of seconds. And each chunk should still have a pretty good lasting scent trail for at least 20 to 30 minutes, which is plenty of time for them to smell it, find it, and smash it. Okay, up next is the lovely live nightcrawler, readily available at any gas station, bait shop, or even your local Walmart. You can get a whole can of them for under $5. And worms will catch just about any freshwater fish that swims too. But to catch bigger catfish, we'd recommend hooking up 2 big plump worms onto your large octopus hook. And you want to make sure you leave the enticing heads of the worms unhooked and dangling so fervently that it drives catfish crazy. And another really great tip is to keep your worms refrigerated for a week or 2 before you go fishing. That way, they'll be a lot more plump and more lively, and it'll up your chances of catching more fish. They'll work in any type of water condition to catch catfish because of the wiggle factor and their natural scent. Okay, another fail-safe bait is cut bait, like nice chunks of cut shad, perch, suckers, etc. It's a natural part of the catfish's diet and a real staple for them. You can even hook the shad on whole or just cut them up into pieces and hook them up front, since many larger catfish like to attack prey head first. Okay, last up, but certainly not least, is stink baits and dip baits that are highly effective at attracting catfish and getting them to come in from far away. These dip baits and stink baits are specially formulated to attract catfish because of the very strong and pungent odor and scent that also causes them to want to hang onto the bait better and longer. You can cast your stink baits out into the deep pools and in calm or even moving water, and that causes the scent to alert cats into biting. Okay, we're heading into the home stretch, so I just wanted to emphasize patience and persistence are really key when you're catfishing. Catfishing can sometimes be a little bit of a waiting game, but it's absolutely worth it if you land a monster of a lifetime. I remember last summer, Joe and I were catfishing for over 2 hours. We didn't get a single bite, but our patience paid off, and we landed a 10-pound monster channel just before dusk when we were ready to throw the towel in. And when you are catfishing at night, which can give you the best opportunity to typically catch the biggest of fish, you can use a bell attached to your rod, and when it starts to ring, there's a fish on. Or you can use a glow stick on your rod tip, or buy a rod with a fluorescent tip to make it much easier to see bites at nighttime. Some diehard cat anglers even use fluorescent paint to paint the rod tip with highly reflective paint so that you never miss a big night strike. And another critical tip when you're catching more catfish is to be patient when setting the hook. You don't want to yank the hook as soon as you feel a nibble or you see the bobber begin to wiggle. Wait just a few seconds because you want to make sure the bait is firmly in his mouth before you give a firm, hard hook set. Sometimes catfish play with the bait a little bit for a second or 2 before running away with it. Okay, just a final few parting words. Catfish are very clever, and they can easily steal your bait. So if it's loosely attached, you want to make sure you keep the bait secure in place on the hook that you're using. And just a few final words on finding the species of catfish where you live. Channel catfish are by far the most common of freshwater cats and can be found in rivers, lakes, and ponds all throughout North America. In fact, they're found typically all over the world except in Antarctica. Blue catfish are the biggest of the species and are usually found in larger lakes and rivers. And flathead catfish also get pretty big and can also be found in larger lakes and rivers. and most often you'll find them near and in structure and cover. And as simple as it seems, if you're not getting a bite in about 20 to 30 minutes time, they can smell stinky baits and odor from over 100 yards away. So just change spots, re-dip your baits, and move to a new spot and go get them, gang. Okay, folks, thanks for watching. Please like this video, hit the subscribe button before you leave, and don't forget to enable your bell notifications so you never miss another great video coming your way.